Hi there, and welcome to another WCC online tutorial. My name is Rebecca, and I'm the peer consultant who will be working through this presentation with you today. As you can see, we're going to be looking into how to write an introduction. So, let's get started. First things first, we want to let you know what to expect throughout the rest of this presentation. So, we're going to start with an explanation of the purpose of an introduction. Then, we're going to go into a description of two of the structures that an introduction can have. Finally, we're going to go over some methods for starting an introduction that'll hopefully give you a couple of tricks to kickstart your next introduction. So, what does an introduction actually do? There are two primary tasks that an introduction should accomplish. Firstly, it should capture your reader's interest and draw them into your essay. Secondly, your introduction should announce to your audience the paper's topic so that they have an idea about what to expect in the rest of your piece. We'll go further into both of these tasks on the next couple of slides. In capturing your reader's interest, there are four primary actions that your introduction should accomplish in order to catch your reader's attention. As you can see, these four actions include exciting your audience, informing your audience, engaging your audience, and motivating your audience. With exciting your audience, your introduction should make your reader want to read more about your topic, or in this case, continue reading your paper. With informing your audience, your reader should learn something about your topic just from reading your introduction. As for engaging your audience, your introduction should make your audience think by presenting them with a unique or new perspective on a problem. Your unique or new perspective on a problem. Finally, with motivating your audience, your introduction should move your audience to action, or in this case, encourage them to continue reading the rest of your paper. As for the second task that an introduction should accomplish, your introduction should announce your topic to the audience. And not only should it announce your topic, but it should clearly define your topic as well as the aspects of your topic that you will address. This way, your reader knows exactly what to expect in the rest of your essay. With announcing your topic to the audience, there are three tasks that your introduction should accomplish. Firstly, your introduction should provide relevant background information to ground your audience in their knowledge on the topic. Secondly, your introduction should guide your reader to the critical statement that you are hoping to make about this topic. Finally, your introduction should reveal the purpose of your essay. Now we're going to talk about the different structures that your introduction can have. In this presentation, we're going to cover two different outlines. First up, we have the three-part method, which, you guessed it, has three parts. With this method, you start with a hook and then move into background information. Finally, your introduction concludes with a thesis statement. With the generic to specific method, you start with the context of your issue. Then, you state your thesis statement, and finally conclude with your main points. We'll go more into detail on both of these structures on the following slides. So, with the three-part method, there are the three aspects: your hook, your background information, and your thesis statement. Starting with your hook, this is the introduction to your introduction paragraph, and it's meant to catch your reader's attention and draw them in. However, make sure that you avoid making any crazy statements that do not relate to your main idea. After your hook comes your background information, which tells your audience more about your topic. What's really cool about this section is it also acts as a great transition to move from your hook and background information into your thesis statement. So, next comes the thesis statement. This is your sentence that clearly states the main idea or argument that you are making with your paper. It also lists the primary supporting evidence that you are going to explore in your essay. Our tip is that this will almost always be the last sentence of your paragraph, and it should be one sentence or two that summarizes your entire essay. Now we're going to talk about the generic to specific outline. As you can see, this outline is best imagined as a triangle where you start with very broad ideas and narrow them in until at the end of your essay, you have a very specific thought. However, before starting on our discussion of this outline, we would like to note that the word position can replace the word problem. So, with this outline, you start with your context about the problem you are addressing. In many cases, this is the broad question or issue that you are hoping to address in your paper with some context to ground your reader in their knowledge about this issue. Next, you talk about your position or thesis statement on your topic. This can also be your answer to the problem that you addressed in the context section. Finally, you conclude your introduction paragraph with the main points of your argument. These are the specific aspects of the problem that you are going to address in the rest of your essay. So, what are some ways that you can start an introduction? In the following slides, we're going to go over 5 primary techniques that we suggest for how to kickstart your introductions. Our first suggestion is to use a quote, where you take someone else's statement and use it to introduce your topic. Our tip is to make sure that the quote is pertinent to your topic, interesting to your readers, and concise. We also want to remind you to make sure to cite your source and give credit where credit is due. As for our second introduction technique, we suggest using the definition of your word or topic. However, make sure you do not use a basic definition. Instead, try to find one that's unique and interesting while still fitting the context of your essay. Our third suggestion is to use the compare and contrast method. This is where you show the difference between multiple perspectives about your topic. Our tip is that this technique is especially effective for argumentative essays. The fourth method we suggest is using a provocative statement. This is a statement that evokes your reader's interest and draws them into your paper. We do want to go over, however, that there are 5 primary types of these statements that you can utilize in your introductions. As we mentioned, there are 5 primary approaches when using a provocative statement. The first one we want to cover is using an interesting fact or statement about your topic. This is where you open your introduction paragraph with a statement or fact that intrigues or shocks your reader. For example, while there have been many star-crossed lovers throughout literature, none are as iconic or tragic as Romeo and Juliet. The second approach we suggest is challenging a popular opinion. This is where you make a statement that goes against the common perspective on your subject. For example, while the British are historically acclaimed as being one of the first major nations in the world to stop the African slave trade and eventually slavery entirely, these images have led me to believe differently. Our third approach that we suggest is using a paradox, which means you make a statement that initially seems a little odd or even self-contradictory, but one that is proven true by the information presented in your essay. For example, while many who believe in the supernatural perceive haunting as an avenue for ghosts to solve issues they fail to resolve in life, Toni Morrison explores the opposite idea in her bestseller, Beloved. The fourth approach we suggest when using a provocative statement is a concession. In this case, you acknowledge the existence of an unpopular opinion, but ultimately side with the majority perspective. For example, until recently, I believed sex trafficking was not a prevalent issue in Tennessee. However, an article published in the Knoxville Mercury changed my mind. The final approach we suggest when using the provocative statement method is to use an analogy. This is a statement that helps your reader connect an essay's topic to one they are more familiar with. This can also be when you use a descriptive statement so that your audience understands your argument on a new level. For example, my mother says it was like magic. One night I went to bed illiterate, and the next morning I woke up reading chapter books. The fifth and final technique we want to suggest for kickstarting your introduction is using an antidote or a narrative. This is where you take a story, whether true or fictional, and you use it to catch your audience's attention. Now, an antidote or a narrative has 2 main goals that it must accomplish. First of all, it should draw your reader in, and secondly, it should encourage them to keep reading your essay. When writing an antidote or a narrative, there are 2 methods that we suggest. The first is stating a long-term effect or effects without its cause or causes. Using this method makes your reader want to know more about the cause of the situation you've described. Secondly, we suggest providing relevant background information. When doing this, you should include information that helps your reader further understand your topic. We also really suggest using this technique when writing research papers. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you've learned a technique that'll help you when writing future introductions. If you have any questions, or you'd like to speak with a consultant to get a little more help on writing your next introduction, feel free to visit our website where you can contact us or make an account. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.